Welcome back to Land House. I was just stepping outside here to look at our back hill for potential placement of solar panels in the future. Of course, the sun went behind a cloud right whenever I start to look out here, but it is 10 o'clock and this trees, you can, well, I don't know if you can see or not, but we still have about 30 minutes before we top the trees, but it's reached about where this garden hose is, so I think about 10 o'clock is when the sun will start hitting my panels in the middle of the summer. So that's exciting. I have to go pick up the last panel that's at my parents' house still. Anyway, today we're going to be going to a doctor appointment for Arrow, and then I need to go to the bank, and then also last week I had my car worked on. The gasket connecting the exhaust pipe had just rotted away. And so I fixed that and a sway bar. And now the check engine light has come on, so we're gonna go hook it up to the machine and see what's going on. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. Okay, sun popped back out. I don't know if you can see the shadow there for that long tree, but it's hitting about where the hose is. So maybe more like 10:30 before we get good sun up here on the hill. But to be honest, between 10:30 and like 4 is decent sun, but those midday hours are the best, like around 12 to 2 or so. Anyway, okay, enough of that. Hello. Hello. We were just informed that he does not have to have shots today. That's a good thing, because he'd be crying the rest of the day.
No, he's a good baby, not like this one.
Yeah, this one cried for days after. Just stepped out of the shop there. He's thinking that where they opened up the tailpipe to fix that gasket, that perhaps it was just a fault, but hopefully it won't show up again. So we're gonna run for a day or two and see if the light comes back on. And if it does, he said it could be O2 sensor or catalytic converter. So hopefully those are okay, but we'll know in a day or two. The time has finally arrived. Today I'm going to get this installed at our church and hopefully call it done. I've been working on this thing for a month and a half, and it should not have taken more than about a week. So I need to load this up on my car and get the tools I need to hang this up. Then we're going to go to the hardware store, and I'm going to buy a couple of boards for the solar panel mount that's going to be out back. And if I have time today, I'm going to finish installing the shelf that's going to be used to store my bigger material over here. It's going to be a shelf up top here that will hopefully be accessible by my ladder. So I want to also work out a way to get that put up. If you know, over here I've got my ladder support, and so I can use more of these black pipes to make that. That was a mouthful, but let's go ahead and get this thing loaded on my car so we can go get it installed. Okay, just got it loaded up here on top of the car. Gonna head off to town and get this thing installed. I hope they like it. If not, I'm probably going to cry. I couldn't be more excited to have that coffee mug holder out of my shop and installed here at the church. It met the approval of the ladies, so hopefully it will last for years to come. I'm gonna head up to post office, UPS, and then go to the hardware store to buy the materials for the solar panel racks. I wrote a little, hopefully I have what I need drawn out here. Yeah, just made a little diagram for the materials I need. And because I'm really wanting to start making some solar panel power this summer. So hopefully in the next couple weeks I'll have some panels up. Emma and I just got to my parents' house. I'm going to be loading up the 4th solar panel. We brought Wally too. So yeah, here's the last solar panel. We'll go ahead and load this thing on the car and we can take it home with us. I'm actually going to be making bunk beds into castles. Uh-oh. Poor Wally. I'm going to make some bunk beds into a castle for my niece and nephew. And so we have to take measure down to the shop down here and get some measurements. I just unloaded the 4th solar panel. The reason I didn't bring it last time is because we didn't have enough of these plastic pieces to separate them enough. But anyway, we got all 4 of them here now. And so I've been kind of thinking about how I'm gonna mount these. I've got I've got 2 4x6s behind the tiny house. And then I'm gonna use those as the back posts. And then the front post, I'm going to cut this 10 foot in half to make 2 5s. And I think with the hill slope, that should be just about right. Then I'll use these across so it'll be on the top and the bottom crosswise. Then the plan is to use this unistrut that I have over here piled up as the pieces that go from the top to the bottom, if that makes sense. Anyway, now I was looking at potential hardware for mounting the unistrut to the wood, and there's these U-bolts that are used. So say that this was mounted at the top like this, and I wanted to have the unistrut coming like diagonally down. So the U-bolt would go to the unistrut, down, around, and back to the unistrut. But they're very expensive, like 60 bucks for a 2-pack. So I thought, why not just take a piece of steel, a little flat bar that I've got, cut it to length, drill some holes in it, and make my own U-bolt with some all thread. So that should be way cheaper, and I can cut it to length that I need. Anyway, it's gonna be much better. Hey, you ready to go inside? Let's go inside. Her cousins are here and I've just been out here talking to you, and she wants to go inside and play. So anyway, all that to say, I'm really excited about getting solar power out here, and so I'll bring you along for that when the time comes. Let's go inside and see the cousins. Bark, 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 bark. Bark, bark. Let me in, let me in. Bark, 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 bark. Bark, 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 bark. Let me in, let me in. Let me in, let me in. Uh-oh, on the roof. He's gonna get in. Hey. Uh-oh, are you putting him out again? Ashley is going to hang out with Arrow this morning, so Emma and I are going to go do a little bit of work here. A couple of things we want to do. Go over to the tiny house where I have those 4x6 posts. Want to drag those over here to kind of get things ready for the solar mount. Also, there's a pile of rocks and some fence posts I need to move. And then we'll go down to the lower grass area where the neighbors had to put some rocks in a spot to get their truck unstuck. So let's head over here to the tiny house and find those posts. So this pile of lumber back here was given to me from a friend. Her husband, oh, I already had 4x4s back here. I didn't have to buy one. Oh well. Her husband passed away and she asked that I take off the lumber pile from them. And it's been fun to see what I've used this for over the past couple of years. I made 2 bridges, such as the one right down there. The entirety of the workshop floor was from this pile. I've also been putting up the siding inside the tiny house, and that was from her. So now we're going to be using more of this material to put up solar panels. So I've got 2, I think they're almost 10 foot 4x6s here that were an old fence. I mean, not fence, but an old sign. And it'll be perfect to use here. So I need to find out how I'm gonna get these over there. I guess just carry them one by one over the shoulder. When I first bought this property, I actually had a garden. I actually had 2 years worth of gardens, and they turned out pretty good. But ever since I've built my garden fence, I've not really had time to garden. The first year we put the house in, second year we had a child, third year we have another child. But I would like to start gardening out here. And if you didn't know, if you're new to the channel, I have a ram pump down here in the creek, and it feeds a couple of tanks way up the hill here, and that water comes back down to this little spot right here. It's got a shut-off valve right there, and from that I can use a garden hose such as this one, and it comes over here. You saw spiders? Oh yeah, lots of spiders. So I can water the garden over here, and I'm not very good at gardening, but I just moved the garden fence over about 20 feet or so, and I made the door about 4 inches bigger. So hopefully I can get stuff in there to work if I need to, but let's go ahead and step in here and I'll show you what's going on. So pull that tab, open up here. So last year I planted 2 blueberries, and they actually started growing decent. Probably won't be long before they're starting up again. And this raspberry, I planted it right here, and it's already grown there and there. So hopefully that really does a lot this year. And then sadly, my grape here did not do so well because the beetles kept getting it. And then for several years I've been growing the same, there's one over here now. I must have thrown a patch of grass over here and it has grown, but I've been growing these garlic plants, and they've been doing really well. So anyway, but this year I'd like to do a little better. Maybe come out here and actually take care of this place and grow something for a change. But I'd like to have maybe some peas and corn, maybe try some watermelon. When it was twice as big, I felt like I was just overwhelmed, and so I didn't do anything. I need to go out here already and just get this place tilled up and ready for planting. Emma's down here fake crying. So a couple years ago I made a ditch here to keep the water from the hill from going into the garden space, and it's worked very well. But now that I have removed this part of the fence, I'm going to take from right there and fill it back in, and I'm going to use some of the extra dirt to fill in the post holes where the fence was. And then I may also knock down this hill just a little bit so that I can just mow straight on across here with no problems. Emma and I are heading off to my parents' house to pick up those bunk beds. Also going to take a bunch of trash to trash place. I'm hearing some really loud machinery up here. Either the neighbors got their front loader fixed and they're doing some rock work, or it could be across the road. I saw an excavator there yesterday doing some digging. So anyway, let's see if I can figure out what it is. I think what it is, my neighbor purchased some land over here, and he is all about clearing trees so he can mow more. So I think that's what's happened. He's just using his bush hog to chop up some trees. Well, at my parents' house, getting the bunk beds here on top of the car. Last year I had to have a airbag replaced in my car, and while I was having that done, I spoke with one of the car salesmen at Toyota, and we got to talking about car racks on top of their vehicles. And the guy said, why do you want a car rack? What do you haul? This week alone, I've carried a bunk bed, a solar panel, I've carried a coffee mug holder, and I've carried a 10-foot 4x4, 2x6. I've built my workshop from this car rack here, and just like the garden fence that was on top of this car. So I told the guys, like, I definitely need a car roof rack. That was my parents' neighbor's house. I clean their gutters maybe twice a year. Emma's in the car sleeping. Thought I might take this bunk bed into the shop real quick. I guess I should also mention that I built the tiny house from atop of this car as well. So when that guy was like, what do you need a car or a roof rack for? Everything. It's bright out today. Well, got a few things done in this video. Definitely happy to have the solar panel mount stuff over here on the side of the house. And very, very happy to have the coffee mug holder finished and installed. That thing has been a pain in my side for a couple months. Well, we'll go ahead and close out the video, but I think tomorrow I'm gonna go up to the hardware store and buy the plywood to convert these bunk beds into a castle. My mom said she was going to come up here and help watch Emma and Arrow while I build stuff. So probably on Monday or Tuesday she'll do that. And I will get a full day of work in the shop to try and just get that totally finished up. I kind of have an idea of how I'm going to build it based off of some different videos on YouTube. But hopefully it'll be good and not too difficult to make. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.